Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with the support you need to finish your book. Best part is, after you finish your book, they take care of the entire publishing and marketing process 100% for you. So, if you want to become a successful author, make sure to check out authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Peter Shinen. He is a traveler and entrepreneur. Peter lived in South and Central America for 4 years after selling everything and closing 2 businesses. He now helps business owners, executives, professionals find a balance in their life. Peter has a new podcast called The F It Show that just launched as well. So welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Tyler, for having me.
Of course, man. Grateful to have you on the podcast. And let's jump into the first one, man. The first one I got for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
So, as in the intro, you stated that, I traveled for 4 years, but before then, the move to travel was almost a danger sign to my life that things were going on, right, at the time. And part of that was, I had 2 businesses. I was focused on work, and the scales of my life were out of balance. So the underlying message that took place was that, you need to pay attention to the signs in your life, in your business, that tell you when things are in a danger moment, right? So that was the underlying message, is to pay attention more to the signs of life and what business has to, and the signs in business also.
And then what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
So the biggest valuable piece is that impact comes from authenticity.
I like that a lot, man. I agree. And it could tie in. So the next one I have for you is, what is your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific. So if you have anything else for us, feel free to share, or if it's, pretty much the same advice, that's fine as well.
So my best overall business advice is actually, don't start with the business cards. Most people spend the time designing their cards and their logos, and they don't actually get out and talk to people. And that is probably the biggest piece of overall advice, business advice.
And then if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Reach higher. Most of us underestimate our abilities and what we can accomplish. And so the advice I would give myself would be reach higher.
And in your opinion, kind of going a little bit down a different path, in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Is having balance in what I like to call the 5 F's, hence the name, the F It Show. And the 5 F's is faith, family, fitness, fun, and finances. When you focus on one particular area, such as, say, most of us focus on finances, the scales get tipped and we leave everything else to the wayside. And so to me, the key of happiness is finding that balance in between all 5 of those.
I agree with you, man. That's actually been a tough thing with myself. And I think it is. I'm really glad that you're starting that show, because I think it's a tough thing for a lot of people. A lot of people in my life call me like an extremist. So I find myself, and what they mean by that is, like, when I'm like zoned in on something, I can like not, I want to say easily, but I can normally accomplish whatever I put my mind to. But then other aspects of my life will start to kind of fall apart, like you're saying. So for me, when I'm like focused on my business, I'll like not call my mom for a while, or like me and my girlfriend at the time, our relationship will start to dwindle because like I'm just so zoned in. So it's something that I'm still working on. So I'm really excited that you're launching that show. I think it will be helpful for a lot of people.
That is exactly what I mean by signs, right? Like, I had the two businesses, and you could relate to this. Is you go all in to the business aspect because it's so fun. You get wrapped up and focused in that journey that everything else kind of gets pushed aside because you're so focused on that success, right? In that one key area, where everything else just kind of falls apart, and then you come back and you're trying to clean it up, and then you go back to focusing on your success, your monetary success, if you would want to say that.
Yeah, totally, man. So the next one I have for you is, what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from it?
So I think the best book that I've read was a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And there's a lot of great books, but one of the key elements of that book was discipline in all aspects, plus humility and professional will. And that book kind of started a path to being more disciplined in my life, in my work, and trying to be more humble, I guess. Authenticity, right? Coming back to authenticity.
And then what is your favorite quote and why?
So there's one quote that leads into the other. So the original quote that is derived, the only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing, by Socrates. The quote that is derived from that says, it takes considerable knowledge just to realize the extent of your own ignorance, by Thomas, I think Sowell. I'm going to say his name. And I think those two is knowing that you're coming into the day with so much possibility and curiosity, and wiping out that your arrogance or the things that everything you know, and try to learn and build off of what you have already developed, or forgetting that for that day.
Awesome, brother. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. The last one I have for you before we let you go is, where can our audience best find you online?
So the best way professionally to find me is on LinkedIn. And that is just if you type in Peter Shinen, you'll find me on LinkedIn. Same goes for Facebook. My websites is petershinen.com, and the website I'm launching is f-it.tv. So f-it.tv. And I just want to thank you, Tyler, for having me on, and really appreciate it.
Of course, man. It was an honor. We'll talk soon, brother.
Talk soon.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.